The late afternoon sunlight poured into the coffee shop, illuminating the rustic wooden tables and chairs scattered across the room. The cafe was bustling with energy friends catching up, professionals typing furiously on laptops, and the soft hiss of the espresso machine blending into the background. It was the kind of place where regulars felt at home and newcomers were welcomed with warm smiles and expertly crafted lattes. Behind the counter, Emma moved with practiced ease. She had worked at the cafe for 3 years and knew most of the regulars by name and order. Known for her quick wit and kind heart, she was the kind of barista who could make even the grumpiest customer crack a smile. But today, Emma was not in the mood for small talk. She was running on 3 hours of sleep after pulling a double shift the previous day, and her patience was wearing thin. That's when he walked in. The door chimed softly as a man in his mid-50s entered. His neatly pressed shirt and dark jeans suggested he was someone who took care of his appearance, but it wasn't his outfit that caught Emma's attention. It was the bright red Make America Great Again hat perched squarely on his head. The moment the man stepped in, the atmosphere shifted. Conversations at nearby tables grew quieter. Eyes darted toward the hat, then quickly looked away. Emma noticed one woman near the window nudge her companion and whisper something while gesturing discreetly toward the man. A group of college students sitting by the counter exchanged raised eyebrows and smirks. The tension in the air was subtle but palpable. Emma felt her chest tighten. To her, that hat wasn't just a piece of fabric, it was a symbol, a statement, and not one she agreed with. She couldn't help but think about the implications of what it represented and the divisiveness it had come to embody. She had always prided herself on creating a welcoming space for everyone, but today she struggled to maintain her composure. The man approached the counter, calm and composed, seemingly oblivious to the subtle stares and murmurs around him. He smiled politely at Emma. "Good afternoon," he said. "I'd like a medium black coffee, please." Emma hesitated for a split second, then forced a smile. "Sure thing," she said, her voice tight. She keyed in the order and told him the total. As the man reached for his wallet, she couldn't stop herself. The words were out of her mouth before she had a chance to think them through. "Interesting choice of hat," she said, her tone dripping with barely concealed sarcasm. The man paused mid-motion, then looked up at her. His expression remained neutral, but his eyes held a hint of curiosity. "Is there a problem with it?" he asked. Emma felt a rush of heat rise to her cheeks. She glanced around the cafe, noticing that a few customers were now openly watching the interaction. She knew she should let it go, but something inside her wouldn't allow it. "I just think it's bold," she said, carefully choosing her words. "Not everyone finds the hat comfortable." The man's face remained calm, but his voice grew firmer. "It's just a hat," he said simply. "I'm here for coffee, not to make anyone uncomfortable." Emma's smile faltered. "Well," she began, her voice edging toward defiance. "Some people might see it differently." By now, the cafe had gone noticeably quieter. Even the barista working the espresso machine had paused to listen. Emma felt a mix of adrenaline and anxiety as she realized the conversation had become a public spectacle. The man straightened his posture and looked her in the eye. "I respect your opinion," he said calmly, "but I have the right to wear this hat, just like anyone else has the right to wear a shirt with a slogan or logo they believe in. I didn't come here to argue, I just wanted a coffee." Emma opened her mouth to respond, but before she could, her manager stepped in. A tall, soft-spoken woman named Claire. The manager had a knack for diffusing tense situations. "Emma," she said gently, placing a hand on her shoulder, "I'll take over from here." Emma stepped aside, her heart pounding. Claire addressed the man with a warm smile. "I'm sorry about the misunderstanding, sir. We'll have your coffee ready in just a moment." The man nodded, his demeanor still composed. "Thank you," he said, his tone polite but distant. Claire prepared the coffee herself, handed it to the man, and thanked him for his business. As he left the cafe, the door chimed softly again, and the tension in the room seemed to dissipate. Customers slowly returned to their conversations, though Emma noticed a few lingering glances in her direction. Once the man was gone, Claire turned to Emma. Her expression wasn't angry, but it was firm. "Can I see you in the back for a moment?" Emma followed her manager to the small office behind the counter, her stomach twisting with nerves. Once the door closed, Claire sighed and leaned against the desk. "Emma, I get it," she said. "I really do. But this is a coffee shop, not a battleground. Our job is to serve customers, not to judge them." Emma crossed her arms defensively. "But that hat doesn't break any rules," Claire interrupted gently. "Look, I'm not asking you to agree with him or even like him. But when you're behind that counter, your personal feelings have to take a back seat. We're here to create a welcoming environment for everyone, no matter what they believe." Emma felt a pang of guilt as Claire's words sank in. She hadn't intended to make the man or anyone else feel unwelcome, But in her attempt to stand by her principles, she had let her emotions get the better of her. Claire continued, her tone softening. Think about how that interaction might have felt from his perspective. He wasn't being disruptive. He wasn't causing trouble. He just wanted a cup of coffee, and instead he felt judged. Emma nodded slowly, her cheeks burning with shame. You're right, she admitted quietly. I let it get personal. Claire smiled faintly. It's a learning experience. We all have moments like this. Just remember, respect goes both ways. As Emma returned to the counter, she couldn't help but replay the interaction in her mind. She realized how quickly she had let her assumptions take over and how it had impacted not just the man, but the entire atmosphere of the cafe. From that day on, she made a conscious effort to separate her personal beliefs from her professional duties, learning that respect and neutrality were more powerful than judgment.